Hi, Tavo.
Hey Pam, how are you? Can you hear me?
Oh, yeah, let us adjust the volume.
Okay.
Go ahead and chat a little more while they work on that.
Hi there. Sorry, I'm not there today. I don't think you want me to be there though.
That's still too loud. They're still working on that. Yeah, we wish you could be here.
Yeah,
What's that?
you don't want the bug that I have. Trust me.
I'm sorry to hear that. Okay, we're still working on volume. You guys,
Can we hear you again real quick?
Hello there. Testing, testing, testing.
they're still working on it.
Okay.
Annie Elise would like you to tell us a story while we're waiting.
Well, if I had a good one, I would.
They're working with Mark right now.
But we do need to hear from you to check your audio levels in the room.
How are we doing now?
Oh, that sounded better.
Okay. So program and two room are
Expression out, which I thought I set to 2 room for that output, but not expression out, zoom out,
I already did. About joining early.
not way down.
okay. Okay.
Which actually means
We're still waiting for Commissioner Higgins.
Okay.
Okay, that's almost too soft. Are you guys still working on that?
hold on. Yes, I can.
Can we hear you from Zoom one more time?
Hello there. Testing, testing.
Oh, that's very nice. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, for Tavo, excuse me, Chair Cruz, for a quorum, we do need to wait for Commissioner Higgins.
Okay, we'll just hang on for a minute or two.
Okay.
3:02. Give him a second or two here.
She's joining now.
Yeah, does this work?
Great. There. Okay, great. All right. The September 10, 2025 Prosper Portland Board of Commissioners meeting is now convened. Pam, will you please call the roll?
Commissioner Slick? Here. Commissioner Alvarez?
Here.
Commissioner Higgins?
Here.
Chair Cruz?
Here.
Thank you.
Great. Thanks very much. Okay, I have a brief notice to read. As required by state law, Prosper Portland invites the public to access and attend this meeting in person. There's also a YouTube live stream video of the meeting, and the public has had the opportunity to arrange in advance to provide virtual testimony. The public may provide written testimony to the commission by emailing prospercommissioners@prosperportland.us. Again, prospercommissioners@prosperportland.us. Thanks very much. Okay, we'll start off with the usual commissioner reports. Does anybody have anything they'd like to report this time? I'm hearing nothing.
Confirming there's nothing.
Okay. All right, then we'll move on. So we will have the first Executive Director report from Cornell Wesley. So welcome, Cornell.
I will tell you, I am not deviating from the script. I'm going to use these talking points as currently orchestrated. Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Cornell Wesley. I proudly serve as the Executive Director for Prosper Portland. Good afternoon, Chair Cruz, as well as our commissioners here. I'm pleased to be here today for my first official Executive Director report. As I've mentioned to many of you, these first few weeks have been a whirlwind. I've had the opportunity to engage with all of you as well as meet an array of local leaders, stakeholders, partners, and perhaps more importantly, my Prosper team. Learning about the staff and doing what I can do to support them is a priority for me, and I look forward to continuing to engage with and learn from them. I've attended quite a few events, including Sneaker Week, the Portland Criterium, PDX Hip Hop Week, the Albina Vision Trust Dinner, Pitch Black, and the Meso Gala, as well as the screening of Night Always Comes, which was shot in Portland and is now available to watch on Netflix. Looking forward, tomorrow I will participate in an interview on KGW's Straight Talk program. On Friday, September 12th, I will attend and speak at the Hispanic Metropolitan Chamber's annual Noche Bella event. And on Tuesday, September 23rd, I will attend the grand opening of Weir Esco's new state-of-the-art global headquarters in Northwest Portland. At this time, I want to recognize Pam Neal, Kate Merrill, and Andrea Gall with our business advancement team, along with our interim economic development director, Andrew Fitzpatrick, for their work in support of this event, and more importantly, their ongoing partnership with the Weir Esco team. As I've said, we've covered a lot in little over a month, and I've definitely appreciated the well wishes and the warm welcomes. It's been invigorating to talk to folks and hear, without exception, their commitment to the work and to Portland. That passion and that belief in our shared efforts is exciting, and I'm eager to build on the momentum I've experienced thus far. And finally, I want to also acknowledge my amazing executive team, Lisa Aboif, Shabri Vickers, Andrew Fitzpatrick, Tony Barnes, Hope Whitney, and Stefan Kibbs. Their support and, dare I say, their patience and thought partnership has been invaluable during these first few weeks. Now let's talk about what's happening, or rather what's going on in our city. There's a lot going on right now across the agency. I'm excited to announce and invite everyone to join the PDX Staycation event, which kicks off this weekend. In case you haven't heard, this is a 3-day celebration of everything that makes our downtown vibrant. So we have retailers, restaurants, and local event creators will roll out unique offerings and, of course, one-of-a-kind experiences. And so book a stay at a downtown hotel. I encourage you to dine out and show up. It's a chance to remind ourselves and show others what's possible downtown. I'm pleased to note that Prosper Portland is a sponsor of the Staycation event, and I want to acknowledge the great work of our colleague, Amanda Park, who has led our efforts in support of this great event. So again, visit portlandstaycation.com for all of the details. The Portland Institute for Contemporary Art's time-based festival is now underway and runs through Sunday, September 14th. Prosper's small but mighty team, Office of Events and Film, supported this festival by providing a scale-up grant. I also want to invite everyone to come to Pioneer Courthouse Square on Saturday, September 20th, from 11 a.m. to 2 p.m. for the bounty of Umatilla County. Did I say that right, Umatilla? Okay, thank you, I appreciate that. And once again, we want to acknowledge Amanda Park for her work in this particular event as well. Finally, we have 2 amazing new teammates that we also want to recognize today. Jennifer Manhart has joined the Green team as project manager, supporting our work in the 3 new Westside TIF districts. Jennifer holds a master's in urban and regional planning and a graduate certificate in real estate development from Portland State University and a bachelor of environmental design from Texas A&M University. Jennifer has worked at a number of multidisciplinary planning and design firms on projects in Portland and nationwide, most recently at Basinger Partners Architecture. Now, throughout her career, she's helped communities turn big ideas into reality, whether that's revitalizing neighborhoods, creating vibrant public spaces, or managing the design of nationally significant memorials and museums. Jennifer and her husband have called Portland home since 2001, raising 3 kids in Northeast Portland, one heading to the University of Oregon this fall. Go Ducks.
Go Ducks.
Go Ducks.
Oh, okay. All right. Okay, so that one struck a chord. We'll keep that in rotation. Also, Simmer Warwick joined Prosper Portland as an intern with the Business Advancement Team and Entrepreneurship and Community Economic Development teams this summer. She is a junior at the University of Portland School of Business, studying Management Information Systems, and is also the co-founder of Pure Water for Life nonprofit. Simmer has helped the team tremendously, supporting with business intake, updating our business information, and with outcomes tracking. She's currently working on a workforce analysis for our priority industries. We're so grateful for her work with Prosper Portland. Her internship will continue through November. Why don't we please, if you don't mind, give them a little hand clap for joining the Prosper team. And if you don't mind, stand, let them see who you are. All right. This concludes my report, and I turn it back over to you, Chair Cruz.
Great. Thank you very much, Cornell. Just again, want to say how excited we are to have you as our new executive director. And it's just terrific. What a great start you're off to. And I hear so many great things about the work you're already doing. So just thanks very much. We really appreciate you being here.
Thank you.
Okay. Next up on the agenda, would anybody like to make a motion to approve the minutes from the July 9, 2025 meeting?
I so move.
Great, thank you. Do we have a second?
Second.
Thank you. All those in favor? All right.
Aye.
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 Okay, minutes are approved unanimously. All right, next, Pam or Allison, do we have anybody signed up for public comment?
Chair Cruz, we have Mr. David Frederickson here to speak.
Okay. Great, Mr. Frederickson. Welcome remotely. And you have 3 minutes.
Thank you. Go Ducks. Good afternoon. My name is David Frederickson, and I'm the owner and founder of Figure Plant, a COVID-certified small business that I started in San Francisco in 1998 and moved to Portland in 2007. We've operated out of the Nelson Building in Kenton ever since, well before Prosper Portland purchased the building in 2011. We want to keep growing here. We want to stay in Portland, but that hope is slipping away. I'm here because my recent experience with Prosper's asset management team has been deeply discouraging. Here's the reality. The building's only other long-term tenant adjacent to my space closed more than 3 years ago, and that space has sat mostly empty. During that time, we've tried again and again to expand into that space, either by leasing or by exercising our first right to purchase. Every attempt has gone nowhere. The negotiations to expand and later to purchase have not been in good faith, and your team's approach doesn't match the mission of your organization or the priorities of the Advanced Portland Plan. Most recently, we submitted a serious offer to buy the building prepared by a principal commercial real estate broker with 20 years of Portland experience. Prosper's response was blunt. We won't consider anything less than $4 million, and we're not interested in selling because the property performs well. Please be reminded, we were not permitted to expand because of the perceived instability of our business during COVID when our business was devastated, and now we're being told that the price is high because the property performs well. We are the reason the building performs well. For perspective, our offer valued the space at about $67 a square foot. Prosper countered at $142 per square foot. Meanwhile, Class A buildings in Portland are trading closer to $35 per square foot. When we asked for an explanation of that evaluation, we got silence. Let me be clear, the only reason this property performs well is because of the business I've built. And with our lease expiring in early 2026, I'm now forced to look elsewhere, just like the myriad other businesses that account for the negative migration out of Portland. And that well-performing 28,000 square foot building will join the extensive list of vacancies littered throughout the city. One last point. Just weeks ago, the Portland Business Journal reported that Prosper Portland awarded a $2.7 million forgivable loan to the James Beard Market. So I have to ask, why is your organization willing to give away millions, yet unwilling to work with a long-standing Portland business on a fair, reasonable real estate deal that will ultimately keep a Portland business in Portland, an anchor business in the Kenton neighborhood, and 25 to 30 local breadwinners employed? Thank you, and I'm happy to provide further explanation of the situation if that would be helpful. Thank you.
Thank you for joining us today, and I hope that you can, it sounds like you've already connected with our staff, but I hope that you'll do so again, and we'll ask, on behalf of the board, we'll ask for some additional information from staff about this. Okay?
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, is there anybody else on the agenda? Or
None.
excuse me, on the list?
None.
Okay. Okay, thank you. All right, next up, we have the consent agenda. We have two items, two resolutions, and I'm going to call for a vote for both of them at the same time. If somebody'd like to make a motion to approve resolution number 7619 and 7620.
I so move.
Great, thank
Second.
you. Great, thank you. All those in favor?
Aye.
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 Okay, consent agenda passes. Thank you. Okay, next up, we have item 8. This is an action item, adopting revised prosperity investment program guidelines. And Amy Nagy, development manager, and Sharon Smith, project manager, will present. So welcome, Amy and Sharon.
Hello, everybody. Thank you so much, Chair Cruz. Good to see you, commissioners. Executive Director Wesley. I am, for the record, Amy Nagy, a development manager here at Prosper Portland, and I'm joined by my colleague, Sharon Smith, who is our project and program manager over our place-based grant programs. We are also joined by a couple of folks, Matthew Jordan, as well as Nicholas Pelster, who will be providing some of their invited testimony and their experience with our programs after we're done with the presentation. Next slide, please. So commissioners, we are here today to request that the board take two separate actions. The first is to approve revised program guidelines for the Prosperity Investment Program, which is one of our grant programs. The second one is to take action on approving the revised program guidelines for the Community Livability Grant. Next slide, please. So this action aligns with our Advanced Portland strategy, in particular Objective 3, which is fostering a vibrant central city and neighborhood commercial districts, with outcomes being number 3.2, supporting small businesses within our central city, as well as outcome 3.5 of supporting growth and health of businesses within our commercial districts. Next slide, please. So I'm just going to provide kind of a brief overview and context of where our existing place-based grant programs are and where they lie. And then I'm going to hand it over to Sharon, and she's going to talk a little bit more about particularly the Prosperity Investment Program, affectionately referred to as the PIP, as well as the Community Livability Grant, also referred to as the CLG. She'll talk about how they're functioning today and some proposed updates that we have for you. So when we think about place-based programs, those are ones that are primarily overseen by us in the Development and Investment Department. The first one, the PIP, is available to property and business owners, and this is for exterior and interior improvements. Typically, you'll see this through mostly a tenant improvement, and so it's a very popular program. Both the businesses or property owners can be eligible for up to $50,000. In some TIF districts, it's up to $75,000 with a match. We have our Affordable Commercial Tenanting Program, also referred to as the ACT. This is available in TIF districts. It was piloted first in the Interstate Corridor TIF district and has since expanded over into Gateway. Again, also available to both property and business owners for improvements very similar to those that are eligible under PIP. However, this is also really geared towards getting business owners that are taking commercial space down for the first time, getting them an access through a discounted lease rate in exchange for the improvements. And so grant amounts can be up as high as $300,000, particularly for those that are facing kind of larger build outs. You think about childcare, restaurants, et cetera. We have a recently kind of soft launched grant, if you will. It's the Building Energy Efficiency Grant, affectionately known as the B Grant. This is available citywide, and it's through a partnership that we have with the Portland Clean Energy Fund. Also, again, available to property and business owners with a couple of different pathways. The goal is really to support energy efficient upgrades and building related improvements, particularly in buildings that are at 40,000 square feet or less. And so building owners can qualify for up to $200,000 with a 25% match, and those are really for the building related improvements. So if we're thinking around heating, ventilating, and air conditioning, electrical upgrades, et cetera. Business owners may qualify for up to $100,000, and that's really more for the energy efficiency equipment. So we look forward to reporting more on that as that gets underway. We have our beloved expanded repair and restore grant, as you all know and are well aware, that actually started during the pandemic with a very kind of targeted approach in our central city and a little bit in northeast, and then since expanded actually citywide based on the funding sources. And so right now, through our agreements with City Council, it's being funded out of our Strategic Investment Fund. This is also available to owner-occupied and business owners, so buildings that have a business that's owner-occupied. They need to be open and functioning, and the whole goal is to keep them open. And so this is for owners that have suffered property damage through vandalism, through graffiti, who may also be experiencing increases in their insurance premiums, as well as any kind of interior damage they have from a break-in. And so they are eligible for up to $25,000 grant over the lifetime of the program. And then last but not least is our Community Livability Grant, which is also available in TIF districts. This is for community-based organizations, so it's one of the key ways that our side of the shop can really partner and support nonprofits. Again, for interior and exterior improvements, but this is really supporting kind of a community benefit. So anytime a nonprofit offers and would like to expand a program, improve a program, you can think about gymnasiums, community gathering space, et cetera. They will apply for this, and they're eligible up to $300,000 over the lifetime of the program, and Sharon will go into a little bit more detail. Before I hand it over, I just wanted to note we work very closely with the different grant coordinators on trying to leverage the grants. We also partner regularly with our friends over at the Bureau of Transportation, as well as the Bureau of Planning and Sustainability, to leverage improvements that they may be making. So a great example of that is if PBOT's working in the right-of-way and doing street improvements, we can at the same time offer a PIP grant to a business or a property owner that is experiencing the kind of the impact and ultimate benefit of that. We've also worked quite closely as Bureau of Planning has worked with anchor institutions as well as the anchor businesses and supporting them also through grants. So we try and do that very frequently. And I think with that, I'll hand it over to Sharon.
Hello, commissioners. Now that you have a general idea about both grant programs, we're going to kind of move on up to the updates that we're proposing for the PIP and the CLG programs. We're going to kind of combine this here. Generally, both programs are functioning as they should with the existing guidelines. However, staff and grant recipients have observed areas within the programs that would benefit from greater clarity or updates. We're taking a moment to allow them to catch up with recently launched grant programs. And then the goal is to do some streamlining of our grant offerings, update eligibility criteria to be responsive of our current economic landscape, update the programs for greater internal programming, and generally be responsive of what we hear and learn from small businesses as we implement the programs and walk alongside them in their projects. Next slide, please. To inform our updates, staff conducted a joint feedback survey of PIP and CLG grant recipients within the past 5 years. We received 30 responses to the feedback survey. We received a cross-section of responses from property and business owners and nonprofit groups, who also reported a broad spectrum of annual revenues and provided a range of perspectives on the impact of our programs. Next slide, please. The survey focused on 5 key areas of our grant programs, as indicated on the slides. Survey respondents generally agreed that the application guidelines are clear and the scope of our eligible improvements of the programs aligned with their needs. Some participants noted the reimbursement-based model is a financial strain to cover their project costs, but we will continue to maintain this model as we have found it to be the most effective way to ensure improvements are TIF eligible and ensure the scope of work is completed. However, we do offer to pay third-party consultant or contractors directly if a grantee expresses financial hardship. Grant recipients rated their overall experience with our programs highly, giving the program an average score of 4.4 out of 5. We use these findings as a basis for the proposed updates to the program guidelines that we're presenting to you today. Next slide, please. Okay, so a little bit about the PIP grant program as it currently exists. The PIP grant is a matching reimbursable grant available in designated TIF districts. It supports small businesses and property owners in making tenant improvements to both large and to small and large-scale physical upgrades to existing or new buildings. The PIP grant is funded by TIF, and as a result, businesses have to use it for specific types of physical improvements to the structures of their buildings. Currently, businesses receive $50,000 with a 50-50 match, and then businesses located in interstate and gateway are eligible for up to $75,000 with a 75-25 match. As I mentioned on the survey slide, the PIP grant is a reimbursable grant where businesses and property owners have to pay all their expenses up front and then seek reimbursement from Prosper Portland for our share of the cost once the work has been complete. This is one of our most popular grant programs, and since 2016, we've dispersed nearly $11.4 million to businesses across all the available TIF districts. Next slide, please. Wanted to give you an example of a PIP grant awardee. And as you can see on the screen, Oyatsupan Bakers is a Japanese bread maker located in the Central East Side TIF district. They used their grant to make improvements to the facility, including building a specialized clean room that is used to package their bread. Oyatsupan is also one of our priority industry businesses that the BAT team also works with. And this means they're a traded sector, and they're a high-growth business that generates sales outside of the region, bringing new income into the area. It's a great example of how our teams work in collaboration with each other internally. And I'd like to add that the bread, the pillowy soft bread, makes fabulous PB&J sandwiches. Next slide, please. Pillowy. It's very pillowy and soft. Trust me, it's good. All right. As we shift into the proposed revisions, I would like to highlight 3 areas. Who's eligible for the grant, how many grants can be issued per tax law, and grant amounts. Those are the main areas of updates to this program. The first update is focused on eligibility as it relates to the business owner. There are 3 ways in which a business might be eligible. They have to be aligned with an action plan of the district. They're considered a priority industry business like Oyatsupan Bakers, or they meet at least 2 of the criteria that you see on the slide. Next slide, please. This slide outlines the eligibility criteria for property owners, and similar to the previous slide, eligible applicants have to align with the district action plans. They have to, they can support a traded sector business or lease to an eligible business that was outlined on the previous slide. Next slide, please. The next guideline update that makes the full grant amount available to multiple entities in a single tax lot. Under the current guidelines, only one grant is allowed in a single tax lot. Once that grant has been exhausted, the lot is not eligible for another grant for 10 years. This is particularly challenging for buildings like here in downtown that have more than one storefront. And we have been creative over the years and split the grant amongst multiple businesses, but it has led to smaller projects and businesses still in support of need. The proposed update will enable property owners and multiple businesses within a tax lot to receive the grant for the full amount and reduce the waiting period between grants from 10 years to 5 years. And this is really helpful as we see turnover with businesses. Next slide, please. The final guideline update to the PIP program is standardizing, that's a hard word, the grant amount available across all the TIF districts. So currently, some TIF districts have a $50,000 maximum, while others receive up to $75,000. This was an evolution of the agency's action plans where community members identified having a significant lack of access to funding for their businesses and properties, and they requested a higher grant amount. We received enough feedback from grantees in other districts and also within our feedback survey that they would greatly benefit from an increased grant amount. The proposed change standardizes the grant amount to $75,000 across all the districts. Next slide, please. Okay, now we're going to move into the Community Livability Grant, which is our one place-based grant that we provide to nonprofits and community organizations. Organizations can receive up to $300,000 over the lifetime of the grant. And once they reach that maximum, they have to wait 10 years until they can access the grant again. This grant is awarded on an annual basis only, and Prosper Portland staff convenes an evaluation committee for each TIF district. Community members represent a range of expertise and come with an understanding of the priorities of the action plan. They score the projects and ultimately provide a recommendation to Prosper Portland of who the grant should be issued to. This grant allows community members to convene to help inform the investments that the agency is making in the districts. This is also a very popular grant, and we have dispersed around $9.6 million since 2016. Okay, a CLG grant recipient. Kickstand Comedy is a nonprofit that offers a community-centered space for performances. They offer classes and inclusive programming to bring people into comedy and host live shows that include improv, stand-up, and sketches. They use the Community Livability Grant to update their signage, increase seating capacity, and do improvements to their bathroom and classroom spaces. The updates to the CLG program was a bit of a lighter touch, and where we have mostly tightened up the language for clarity and consistency while increasing access for organizations. The three areas where this is most apparent are the availability of funds, the eligible entities, and the selection process. Under the availability of funds, we added language about match requirements, where 50% of the match is required when the grant amount reaches $200,000 threshold. We decreased the time frame in which organizations can reapply for the grant from 10 years to 5 years when they max out the grant. And we also added language for the grant where the pre-development costs up to $25,000 can be utilized. Under eligible entities, we added language for organizations that might not have the official nonprofit status to use a fiscal sponsor to manage their grants. And then finally, we simplified our selection process requirements and emphasized project completion timeframes to be 1 year. This concludes my presentation, and I'd like to bring up our grantees for a few minutes for them to share with you all. And then if you have questions or thoughts, we'd be happy to answer them.
There we go. Okay. Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Matthew Jordan, and I'm the Senior Building Manager at the Center for Philanthropy,
which is a multi-tenant center for nonprofit organizations owned by Northwest Health Foundation. We have a dozen tenants, including organizations like the ACLU of Oregon, Coalition of Communities of Color, Basic Rights Oregon, and Partnership for Safety and Justice. And in addition to being an office building for those and other orgs, we also provide free meeting spaces to community groups in Oregon and Southwest Washington, including many local government agencies and direct service organizations in Old Town Chinatown. I didn't have to travel too far to get here, as we're located right across the street on 2nd Avenue, literally right out the door. So we're really grateful to Prosper Portland, as the PIP grant we received enabled us to do a number of important building improvements this year. The first was to install ADA door openers at several entryways for one of our tenants, Trailhead Credit Union, which serves a lot of members with disabilities and is the only financial institution in the area. It's also a certified community development financial institution. We also repaired damage to window caulking and concrete that was causing leaking and other issues on our ground floor, also into Trailhead. And being our biggest tenant, Trailhead's our biggest tenant, the PIP grant enabled us to address an important need for a retail storefront type space, bringing foot traffic into Old Town, keeping us and our tenant happy. The PIP grant additionally allowed us to make our building safer for our nonprofit tenants through upgraded security features at a couple of doors and construction of a new wall and access control door inside our lobby to limit public entry to tenant areas of our second floor. Prior to the changes, anyone from the public could walk up the stairs from our lobby and get into a balcony with easy access to our tenant suites. So there were security concerns with that. With the completion of this work in July, this is now no longer possible. Over the past few years, we've unfortunately had challenges from break-ins and break-in attempts, and since these upgrades, we've been told by many of our tenant organizations that they feel much safer. We operate on pretty tight margins, and in many years on a break-even basis. So the funds we received through Prosper's PIP grant enabled us to complete projects that have been on the back burner for a while. Moreover, the funds freed up space in our budget to address other capital needs, benefiting us and the nonprofit groups we serve. In short, our building is more resilient, safer, and more accessible with the support of the funds from Prosper Portland. And I'll just say that we're really committed to Old Town, and the PIP grant enabled us to do work to an aging building and in a way that makes our building's model sustainable. So we're just really grateful to you, Sharon, and to Prosper Portland for your assistance. Thank you.
Hi, everybody. Thank you for having me today. My name is Nicholas Pelster. I'm here representing Skaters Report and Skate Parks and Nonprofit, and also PSU. I'm currently pursuing my Master's of Urban and Regional Planning degree from PSU, and I'm interning in the campus planning office. So I'll kind of explain a little bit of our project. So there was kind of an abandoned space on PSU's campus about 4 years ago that popped up during COVID. There's kind of like a do-it-yourself skate park that popped up kind of like out of necessity in the downtown area. There's no skate park downtown. Often people are street skating around, and there's really no place for youth, especially during COVID. During that time, people were looking for gathering spaces outside. So naturally, a bunch of ramps came to this tennis court space. We started, I was going to school at the time, reached out to PSU about the space, and they were like, you need $1 million for a skate park because nobody was on campus. I'm like, no, I'm talking about the park that's already there. So I worked with the school to get a pilot project going for a year that they set us up, and we improved the ramps, worked with a bunch of community partners over the next couple of months, worked with nonprofits like Skate Like a Girl, Push Movement. They do work doing lessons to all ages, all abilities in the area. We had a bunch of pro skaters come. I'm connected to people in the skateboarding world. We had the women's Olympic team come through. We had over 35 different muralists come and everything, and this was at zero cost to the university or the city, and it really changed opinions on how skateboarding can be involved in upper education and even in the city of Portland. So during this process, I finished my degree, my Bachelor's of Fine Arts, and started working with planners at PSU. I started pursuing my MERP degree, and we worked on this. We were offered a new space from the impact that we made from that one little lot, because they were building a new art building that's currently almost finished at PSU. So we knew our time was limited, but PSU offered us another space that Prosper actually is going to be able to build in the next 5 to 10 years, affordable housing there. But we're working with PSU on this lot space. We applied for the community livability grant, and we got the full amount, which was so amazing. And we're so grateful to receive this. This project never would have moved forward without that. And all the ability and all the things that we've been able to learn as a community and all of our partners have been really amazing. So where it's like the first in the TIF district. Working with Prosper's been great. Working with Joe and Nixie to figure out all the funding things and all of the processes. And yeah, it's just been an amazing collab to show how like the city can work with nonprofits and even like the university and many partners. So we've got some amazing like updates. We had a huge win from like having a stormwater exemption permit that pretty much would have held up the whole project. We got that approved, and we applied for our official building permits and everything. So we're just waiting on that. If anybody has any connections to the permitting department, we're still waiting on hearing back, but we're ready to move forward and break ground in the next couple months and really get this project moving forward. We have a lot of big companies and sponsors that want to be involved in this, and yeah, just a first of its kind community space on a college campus at PSU and in the city of Portland in this downtown area that shows that projects don't have to cost millions of dollars and can be built by community and have many different partners. So trying to create a new precedent for skate parks and community spaces and public spaces. It's more than just a skate park. It really became a place for community to gather, people to host events, just have a space outside for people to go. Often in Portland, there's many public spaces that often have different feelings. This is a place that anybody can come to, just exist there, express, do a mural, add art, and yeah, I'm just really thankful for Prosper for working with us and believing in us and really pushing this project forward. I think a lot of people are excited, and I really want to show like how the city can collaborate with people that you maybe would never think they'd collaborate with. So yeah, I'm really appreciative of everyone at Prosper, and yeah, excited for the future and would love to be involved anymore with you guys in projects. So yeah, thank you.
Great, thank you very much for that. We really appreciate the speakers and thanks for your time today. It helps us understand kind of the impact of these programs and kind of brings the programs to life. Do we have any other speakers or comments from anyone today on this? All right, do we have any questions from the commissioners or comments? Commissioner Higgins.
Thank you. I just want to acknowledge, I really appreciate hearing how Prosper is working with different parts of the rest of the city to sort of maximize the capability of these grants and really hone in on the work that we're doing, especially in the TIF district. I think that if we can continue that level of coordination and collaboration within each TIF district and throughout the city around the different city grants and how we can streamline them, I feel like we could jumpstart some really critical development.
Great, thank you very much. Do you have any other comments from the commissioners? Okay then. Well, thanks to staff for your great work on this.
Excuse me, Chair Cruz.
Yes.
I just learned we actually have another person who would like to provide public testimony on this item.
Okay, great.
So we have 3 minutes for you. Come on up. If you could state your name for the record too.
Thank you, and thank you for letting me skate in under the gun here. I want to provide testimony. My name is Matthew Claudel. I am a small business owner based here in Old Town, and I'm here representing the No Vacancy Project to express our support for the proposed updates to the PIP grant program. The No Vacancy Project is a transformational initiative that reimagines Portland's storefronts by helping creatives and entrepreneurs fill vacant spaces. We're starting here in the Old Town neighborhood, and this program provides access to resources, technical support, and community to the creatives and small businesses who are activating these ground floor spaces. And we're seeing that the PIP grant is a remarkable key to unlock brick and mortar entrepreneurship opportunities. And this is particularly true here in Old Town. This is a neighborhood that has a high concentration of historic buildings, many of which have seen decades of disinvestment. Tenant improvements are prohibitively expensive for most small businesses, and it's PIP funding that bridges the gap. Without it, these storefronts will remain empty, property values decline, and our neighborhood loses its historic and cultural character. Several of our small businesses who we're working with are interested in leasing spaces, and the spaces are currently ineligible for PIP funding. So the proposed revisions that have been put forward will make that possible now with multiple tenants in a single tax lot. The pro formas of these businesses are only going to work with this kind of financial support. Our experience with no vacancy has shown that strategic integration of high impact funding sources can directly advance two of Prosper's key planning priorities. We heard about how it aligns with Advance Portland's objective number 2 of promoting equitable wealth creation by helping BIPOC entrepreneurs and start businesses. It also aligns with the Old Town Action Plan, which has a stated goal to activate vacant properties with community-serving businesses. Our work began with a deep engagement here in the neighborhood, and we heard community needs, and ground floor vitality was a big one that came forward. So we're demonstrating what's possible when we reduce barriers to entry. By combining PIP resources with support and community, we're making brick and mortar retail achievable for entrepreneurs, especially those who have historically been excluded from these kinds of opportunities. And we believe that this will create vibrancy that attracts more systemic investment in the long term. Most importantly, we all love to see storefronts filled with creative entrepreneurs, enhancing the authentic neighborhood character in Old Town, but also in other neighborhoods. Our city is ready to revitalize its thriving retail pockets, and Prosper has a role to play. The PIP program is an important part of that. So on behalf of the No Vacancy team, I encourage you to consider these revisions. I'm excited about them, and I'd be happy to share more about the program if you have any questions. Thank you.
Great, thank you very much. Appreciate that. Does anyone have any further questions or comments on these two items? Okay, hearing nothing, we'll go ahead and vote separately on the two resolutions. The first resolution is 7621, adopting revised prosperity investment program guidelines. Would somebody like to make a motion to approve?
Motion to approve.
Thank you. Do we have a second?
Second.
Thank you. All right. Any further discussion? All right. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay. Passes unanimously. Thank you. All right. And then resolution number 7622, adopting revised community livability grant program guidelines. Would someone like to make a motion to approve that resolution?
I so move.
Thank you. We have a second.
Second.
Thank you. All right. Any further discussion? Okay. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All right. Also passes unanimously. Thanks very much. Thanks again to staff for drawing all of this together. Seems like they're very good and wise changes. And thank you to our guests for speaking today. We appreciate the input. Okay, next up, we have item number 10. This is an action item nominating members to the East Portland TIF District's Community Leadership Committees. And Lisa Boif, Director of Development and Investment, Catherine Hardinger, Project Manager, Dole DeValcourt, Project Manager, and Elisa Ress, Project Manager, will all speak. So welcome.
Okay. Good afternoon, Chair Cruz, Commissioners. I'm going to shove it in my... Sorry. And Executive Director Cornell Wesley. For the record, I'm Lisa Boif. I'm the Director of Development and Investment, and I want to acknowledge while there's a number of us, but actually limited number of us formally presenting to you today, this action is actually the result of numerous staff across the agency, and I want to particularly do a shout out for two folks. The first is Angela Nguyen, who has been amazing support to the team across the entire kind of CLC application and engagement process, as well as Jennifer Pruis, an admin with our department. And I also want to thank our comms team who were instrumental as we posted and solicited for community members who were interested in being on these committees. Next slide, please. So our presentation today will do a couple of things. One, we wanted to make sure that we connected you back to the last time we were before you with proposed TIF districts that the board approved back in last fall. Then we will provide a brief overview of the application and evaluation process that resulted in the nominations that are before you for consideration today. And last but not least, we want to provide more detailed information about the individuals who have kindly volunteered to be on the community leadership committees in each of the 3 new East Portland TIF districts. Next slide, please. So the specific board action that we're requesting is to approve 7 members of the 13 total members for each of the new East Portland TIF district community leadership committees, or CLC, for the 3 East Portland TIF districts. So that's 82nd Avenue. It is East 205, and then what we affectionately call SPACE, but is actually an acronym for Sumner, Park Rose, Argay, Columbia Corridor that you see at the north in green. And we are requesting that you delegate future actions to the Prosper Portland Executive Director regarding nominations, and that is consistent with the governance charter that was approved as part of the TIF district plans. Next slide, please. So first, we're going to provide a little bit of background, just kind of if you can recall back to last fall and what we shared with you. We're going to first, if we go to the next slide, dive into where are we in the what have we accomplished so far in the process, and where are we in the process. You may remember this diagram from the last time we were before you. As you recall, each of the new TIF districts was actually anchored by a neighborhood prosperity network partner, each of which had been working already in a micro TIF district for more than a decade. They together also had interest in exploring new TIF districts, as well as the East Portland Action Plan community leaders regarding the potential for new TIF districts in East Portland to help fund priorities that have been longstanding in those communities. Then, if you follow our path, Council, via resolution in June 2023, kicked off a formal exploration process. And we launched the East Portland-wide steering committee that was then followed by identifying working groups of community members to help us actually draft the action plans. The NPN partner supported and helped lead public engagement during the exploration process that then resulted in the TIF districts coming before you and council last fall. You see that there in October. And as we move into implementation, you see we are now in the red phase, where we are looking to establish inaugural committees or community leadership committees that are charged with providing oversight and partnering with both Prosper Portland and the Portland Housing Bureau as we put together the first 5-year action plan that will set out investment priorities for the beginning of the TIF district. Next slide, please. Also, as a reminder, each of the districts had TIF plans that identified a menu of options for project investment. This is what we have affectionately started calling the menu of investments over the life of the district, and the total estimated amount for each of the subcategory areas, so economic and urban development, infrastructure, and affordable housing, consistent with the set-aside policy. The 5-year action plans for each TIF district, kind of as they come together, will give more clarity and set more immediate and kind of 5-year investment priorities for each district. And you'll note that over the 20 to 30-year life cycle of the tax increment finance districts, it will provide for just over $1.4 billion of direct investment into East Portland in both things like economic development, small business support, the PIP grants you just heard about, kind of support for anchor nonprofits, as well as affordable housing. Next slide, please. A new and pretty important and critical component to how we're doing TIF differently today than we have done in the past was that there was attached to each of the TIF district plans a governance charter that outlines the establishment of the Community Leadership Committee over the life of the district. It also speaks to the role of that committee, and it actually prescribes to us the process that we just wrapped up undertaking for the inaugural committee. Again, what is before you today, you'll see it in that third bullet down, is that you will actually nominate the 7 of the 13 committee members, with the other 6 nominated by the city administrator. Next slide, please. Those same charters also authorize a community-based staff liaison in each district. This is also new to the way that we are doing tax increment finance investments in community and ensuring that there is support not only for the committee, but also for the community in getting engaged in TIF district action planning, investments, oversight, but also making sure that we have a healthy pipeline for our grants and loans. The Neighborhood Prosperity Networks, because of their history with TIF and their role in the exploration and kind of the institutional memory that they bring to the process, are uniquely positioned to host kind of the individuals who will be the community liaisons. You see two of them here, so Annette and Paula, who were thrilled to continue to have them as partners in implementation of the TIF district. And you'll note that the Jade district is actually our partner in hiring a similar liaison for the 82nd Avenue district. Next slide. Also, as a reminder, the role of the Community Leadership Committee is similar to what you may have been hearing about over the past year or two in Cully. The committee is nominated jointly between Prosper Portland and the city, so it is advising both Prosper Portland as well as the city administrator's office as well as city council. They are ultimately approved by city council, and we anticipate that happening in the next month or so. The CLCs work in partnership with staff, both at the Portland Housing Bureau and Prosper Portland, to develop the 5-year action plans. And then as those action plans and investments start to flow from there, they'll actually provide oversight of making sure that we're hitting both our investment targets as well as community impact targets. Next slide, please. So you may recall this slide from when we brought it before you as part of the TIF district plan. We want to make sure that the CLCs include voices from diverse lived experience and a range of knowledge and experience that they can bring to bear. All committee members must live, work, worship, or have children enrolled in school in the district or have been displaced from within TIF district boundaries in the past. All committee members represent interests of kind of the broader community, so they're really signing up to ensure that the broader community voice is heard rather than personal or organizational interests. And the composition should reflect the community with a focus on attracting and stabilizing priority communities, which you see language throughout our TIF plans, ensuring that we're both stabilizing community as well as considering inclusive growth. Next slide. So a little bit about the recruitment process that got to the list that kind of the staff team are going to present on in a moment. If we go to the next slide. So we actually developed applications. If you recall back, those working groups have continued to volunteer their time with us. So we actually developed the applications with input from the working group members who participate in the exploration process. The application was then available on the city website with links, and that was in English with links to additional language options on Prosper Portland's website. So we offered the application in Arabic, Chinese, Karen, Russian, Somali, Spanish, Ukrainian, and Vietnamese, just to make sure that we get a good breadth of applicants. We hosted staff. The staff you see before you, together with PHB staff, hosted weekly office hours and coffee hours to make sure that folks could ask questions, get answers, see if they were interested or not. Staff and the NPNs also canvassed the neighborhoods and attended community events. And then info sessions were also hosted with the NPNs across all of the 3 TIF district areas. And last but not least, I would say there has been a ton of in-community one-on-one work with community members via email, kind of direct conversation, et cetera. And there was a mailer that actually went to 69,000 addresses soliciting folks who might be interested in joining the CLCs to ensure that we have community voice as we implement the new TIF plans. Next slide, please. And then you see how this played out over the past 6 months. The evaluation committee members first met in April to help identify that application process. Applications launched on April 23rd and then it closed. Eventually, we actually extended it to allow for more time, so mid-June. Each evaluation committee then scored applications, and you'll note that the evaluation committee actually included staff. It included community liaisons who were part of the exploration process. It included working group members, and then it actually also included a representative from district council offices to ensure that they were tracking the process along the way with us in anticipation that they will ultimately approve the roster. And then kind of there was a short list of 18 that were identified that were then reviewed by Prosper and PHB leadership, as well as the Deputy City Administrator's Office, and ultimately kind of identified 13 for each district, of which you're reviewing 7 for each district. And then there was actually a meet and greet, so there was an opportunity for all of them to get to meet with DCA Oliveira. And with that, I'm going to hand it to each of the team members to talk a little bit about their districts and provide more information on each of the nominees.
Next slide, please.
My name's Catherine Hartinger. I am the project lead for the 82nd Avenue area TIF district. So we're going to just briefly kind of touch on a refresher on some of the priorities that came out of each district plan and then share the names of the nominees. So next slide. So as a refresh, these are some of the major priorities coming out of the TIF district plan for 82nd. So big push on prioritizing home ownership and home repair, stabilizing folks, getting people into ownership opportunities. Multimodal connections that build on some of the transportation investments happening on 82nd. More neighborhood serving retail and additional 24-hour vibrancy along the full corridor to help mitigate for some of the quality of life issues that residents and businesses are reporting. Remediation and redevelopment of large underdeveloped sites, particularly some of the car lots that have many of which have gone out of business and are just sitting vacant. And lastly, supporting additional tree canopy and landscaping to reduce heat island effects in the summer. Next slide. So you're going to be seeing 3 of these. So I want to take a second to orient you to what's on the slide because there's a lot here. So on the top half of the slide, you will see the Prosper Portland board nominees. So these are the 7 of the 13 that we're asking the board to take action on today, but we wanted to show you the full committee so you could see the full picture. In the far left column is the name of the nominee. The second column describes where that nominee lives. And so if you recall from what Lisa was saying, to be eligible, you don't necessarily have to live in the district. You could also work or worship or have kids in school, et cetera. So you may notice some folks here who don't live on the 82nd Avenue corner, but they are connected. So for example, Michael Liu lives in Northwest Portland, but his family owns the Fubon Shopping Center, which, as we all know, is a major anchor on the corridor. The third column really just kind of shares highlights of expertise. So a few highlights for this particular group is that we have 2 members from the 82nd Avenue Working Group who are carrying over into the CLC, so they'll bring all of that knowledge and expertise with them. And there were really 2 things that we worked really hard on to get some diversity across here around a neighborhood, because it's such a long corridor. It basically goes from Fremont all the way down to the city line. And so making sure there was representation from different geographies along the corridor. And then lastly, expertise. And so you'll see a lot here, from affordable housing to small business ownership, public health, et cetera. And I learned recently that we actually have multiple folks who do podcasts and social media and have a lot of ideas about public engagement, which is also super exciting. Next slide. So here are all their smiling faces. So again, the folks on the top are the Prosper board nominees, and the folks on the bottom are the city administrator nominees. And with that, I will hand it over to Annalise to talk about East 205.
Thank you. My name is Annalise Raz, and I am the relationship manager for East 205. And on the next slide, we can show you what is important for people in the district. One of the things that the community has expressed is opportunities for recreation and a community center. This is something that comes up anytime that we are out in community engaging. As well as being able to have multicultural maker spaces. There are a lot of home-based businesses that need spaces to showcase their work, and is something that would serve that need, as well as affordable childcare, especially acknowledging the fact that there are so many families with kids in the area. This is something that becomes really relevant. And also being able to have spaces like commercial kitchens that people can go to so that they can expand their businesses that they may have started at home and need some of those facilities to be able to improve, and some connectivity and walkability, as well as multilingual directional signage, given the concentration of so many cultures that are in the area. And in the next slide, we are gonna see a similar slide than the one before. I want to highlight over here that in East 205, we have 1 member of the steering committee, and we have 2 members of the working groups that will continue to work with us in the next few years. And on the next slide, you'll be able to see their faces. And I'll hand it over to Joe.
Good afternoon, Joel DeValcourt, project lead for SPACE. as well as working in Gateway. So creating some continuity in our fabulous East Portland and TIF districts. And I think that the team has a great deal of expertise. And so a lot of these will sound similar, but they also have a great number of unique qualities to each of their TIF districts. Space being including the Columbia Corridor. There are a number of historic investments that have created some conflicts between industrial and residential, as well as commercial land. And so buffers between them were a really important part of community feedback on how to create a kind of clean transition to a green economy, as well as provide continued access for workforce to really high quality jobs in the corridor. And that would also include mutually beneficial development. I think in conjunction with that, people being able to access the Columbia Slough, as well as other recreational amenities along the Columbia River are very, very important for members of the public, as well as for opportunities for new types of enriching activities, tourism, and a number of access to open spaces that tend to be rather difficult to get to. It's a neighborhood like many where there are challenges, kind of mismatches between affordable retail and the ability to secure leases. And so that is met also with a lack of community spaces, as we've seen in the East 205 district. So being able to tie together affordable retail also with third spaces, as they call it, or other types of really culturally specific, as well as kind of intersectional spaces for families. It's a neighborhood with its own school district, so the Park Rose School District is there, and so the tie-in between the Park Rose High School, other schools in the neighborhood, elementary and middle schools, have all seen opportunities to link the community more deeply for young people. And then workforce training centers, again, it's an area where there's a very kind of connected fabric for people to get to high quality, high paying living wage jobs, but sometimes obviously there's a very clear gap in training and skills, and so being able to do that in a physical investment in ways that we can tie those things together are really important in the district. Next slide, please. Aha, same slide, but with different wonderful people, and we're really excited about the Space District. It was the only district that had, through the governance charter, a specific requirement to include members from each of the listed names, and so we were very intentional about, through our evaluation process, lifting up those neighborhoods. So we have people from Sumner, Park Rose, Argate Terrace, as well as Columbia Corridor. A great collection of really wonderful community-based organization advocates, representation from the industrial corridor, as well as small business owners, and also great representation from those who are involved in early education, as well as folks that are in the Park Rose School District themselves, including a librarian. So we're very excited about this, and you will see their lovely smiles as well on the next page. And finally, we want to go to the next slide, where we will cover some of the next steps. Three kind of major blocks here on the left in green. Of course, this is the stepping stone of the final approval. We're expecting to go to committee at City Council in mid-October. I think expecting at this point that it will be the Arts and Economy Committee, and then it will go to full council, likely late October, perhaps, if there's any pushes into November. And then we hope to convene our first kickoff meetings in November and December, and that's where we start to build our relationships, deepen the work that we do in community, and also have our community liaisons really take charge in deepening our engagement. And then more kind of moving from kickoff to really the meat and potatoes of the action planning that will likely start in January, and then we are expecting the released kind of a fall-winter return for each of the individual action plans. They may be on slightly different timelines, but they will all likely be within a year or so. And that's where we review each of their specific policies, which include both the kind of the programmatic and project specifics for Prosper, as well as an opportunity to look at how the affordable housing set-asides will work in the district. And I believe that's all we have, so happy to entertain any comments or questions. Thank you all.
Great, thanks very much. And thanks for all the work that went into lighting all this up and collecting these amazing volunteers to participate. Really appreciate that. Do any of the commissioners have any comments or questions?
None from me.
No? Okay. All right. Well, great. Thank you then. I think we'll go ahead and vote. Now we need to vote separately on these three resolutions. So the first one is resolution number 7623. That's for the 82nd Avenue District. Would somebody like to make a motion to approve?
I so move.
Great, thank you. Do you have a second?
Second.
Excellent. All right, all those in favor, please say aye.
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 Okay, passes unanimously. Thank you. Next is resolution number 7624, and this is for the East 205 District. Would somebody like to make a motion there?
Motion to approve.
Thank you. Do we have a second?
Second.
Thank you. All right, all those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All right,
Aye.
good. Thank you. Passes unanimously. Thank you. And then finally, resolution number 7625. This is for the Space District. Would somebody like to make a motion there?
I so move.
Thank you. Do you have a second?
Second.
Thank you. All those in favor?
Aye.
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 Great. Thank you very much. They're all approved then. So thanks for all the great work on this. Okay, let's see. Next up, we have another action item. This is number 11, authorizing a personal services contract with Commercial and Residential Management Group. And Ember Breckenridge, Project Manager 2, will present on that.
Good afternoon, Chair Cruz, Commissioners, Executive Director Wesley. My name is Ember Breckenridge, and I'm the Project Manager 2 for the real estate team. Next slide, please. I'm here today to ask for authorization for a new personal services contract with Commercial and Residential Management Group for the management of Lentz Commons. We also call them CRMG because that's a very long title. CRMG, previously known as Income Property Management, is also our current property management company. Next slide, please. This contract covers a few outcomes in the Advanced Portland Plan: commercial space activation, small business support, tenant support, and ground floor commercial activation. I just wanted to go over Lentz Commons just a little bit to give you an idea what it's like. It was developed in 2017, and the first tenants moved in early 2018. It is in the heart of the Lentz Town Center on 92nd and Foster. It's accessible by many modes of transportation. Multiple bus lines run past there. The Green Line MAX train is just a few blocks away. There's the Springwater Trail and, of course, I-205. Surrounding Lentz Commons is a variety of dining options. There's a gym, a yoga studio, the Lentz Farmers Market, and of course, just a home run away from Walker Stadium where the Pickles play. Next slide, please. There are 3 floors of residential units at Lentz Commons, 54 units in total. 16 of those are affordable. We are at 100% occupancy for the residential. In the last 5 years, we have averaged 96% occupancy, which is a great number for us. Currently, 90% of the rental rates are at or slightly above market. And CRMG has done a great job to keep this property clean, safe, and presentable for any new tenants in case we do have some turnover. When Lentz Commons was built, there were 4 commercial units built for a total of 7,389 square feet, although our more recent tenant took 2 of those units and combined it into 1. So there are 3 commercial units now. Longevity, Lighthouse Yoga, and Northwest Pro Gear are amazing small tenants, small businesses, and 2 of them are actually owned and operated by BIPOC women. So we're super excited to have them. So Not only is residential 100% occupied, but so is the commercial spaces. Next slide, please. A little bit about the management contract itself. As I mentioned, Income Property Management actually acquired CNR Real Estate in 2021, combining them to be CRMG as we know now. They've been in business for a really long time, so we're really excited to have that experience in both companies at Lentz Commons. They were selected via a public request for proposals by staff. And one thing that is unique to this is that the portfolio manager that we had before was promoted to the director of the affordable portfolio at CRMG, and she kept Lentz Commons under her umbrella for consistency sake. And so we're really excited to continue to be able to work with someone at a high level like that. She has about 25 years of experience in affordable and commercial. So that's really a great thing for Lentz Commons, and we'll continue to have monthly meetings. The contract itself is 5 years with options to extend annually. And as compensation, they will receive a 5% management fee of the effective gross income. Next slide, please. For Lentz Commons, we have 4 main goals that CRMG and Prosper Portland want to make sure that we attain over the next 1 year and up to 5 years in the contract. Lentz Commons is a unique property for Prosper Portland with its mixed income residential and the commercial tenants. They all have different needs. So making sure that we're attentive to those and keep them at a high level is really critical. Obviously, we want to maximize the financial performance the best that we can in both revenue and reducing expenses. We want to keep that 100% occupancy the best that we can and stay in line with market rents and the affordable increases according to those allowances. We do have some plans to reduce expenses and manage those while still keeping the livability of Lentz Commons for the tenants at a high level. That's really important to us. It's a beautiful property. They've done a great job maintaining that. During our monthly meetings, we're going to continue to look at market trends and get market research to make sure that we are at the correct level for those market rents and determine if we need to raise those or not every year when we're allowed to, and keep a pipeline in case we have a turnover for tenants so that we're not at a lower occupancy rate. In the end, we're really excited to continue working with CRMG. They've been great, and it's awesome to have a 100% occupancy building like Lentz Commons. So I'll take any questions that you have.
Anyone have any questions, comments? Commissioner Higgins.
I just wanted to make sure, I think the 100% the occupancy rate is really obviously very important to me in making sure that we're filling as much housing as we can. But I also, I know that we're going to do the survey on rents. I just want to make sure that we're providing some level, or the property manager is working with people to really assess that we're not pricing people out.
Yes, we will be looking at that at the market rents and continuing to talk about that in our monthly meetings with them to make sure that we have set those rents at a price that is competitive, but also not pushing them out of Lentz Commons, because we certainly don't want to have a vacant building.
I also just don't want to I think that Prosper has done a very good job in Lentz without creating some of the gentrification that we've historically seen in other parts of the neighborhood. So I want to make sure that we're not contributing to that.
Great, thank you. Anybody else have any comments or questions? Okay, well, if not, then I would accept a motion to approve resolution number 7626, authorizing a personal service contract. Anybody?
move.
Thank you. Do we have a second?
Second.
Thank you. All right, all those in favor?
Aye.
Thanks very much. Okay. It is approved. Okay, so that brings us to our last item. There being no further items on the Prosper Portland board meeting agenda, we're now adjourning the Prosper Portland board meeting and convening a meeting of the Portland Community Investment Fund Governing Board. Like magic. We have done that. So item 11 is an action item. Item 12 is an action item. Appointing Cornell Wesley, president of PCIF, the Portland Community Investment Fund. And Casey Edmondson is going to present on this.
Thank you, Chair Cruz, Commissioners. Good afternoon. Executive Director Wesley, welcome. Good afternoon. I've come to you commissioners, but not you Executive Director Wesley before with some housekeeping items about this entity before, which I'm sure you remember from the scintillating subject matter in previous occasions. But Portland Community Investment Fund is a nonprofit corporation that Prosper Portland created around 9 or 10 years ago in connection with efforts to apply for new market tax credits through the Department of the Treasury program. It's been a number of years since there was an active application process. There have been 3 of those applications made historically, and none of those were successful. But staff have kept the entity in existence due to its potential value for future application rounds and due to the effort that's gone into creating it in the first place. And of course, like any other business entity, it needs to be governed by capable people, and we have an extremely capable new executive director, of course, and we recommend keeping with the tradition of unified management between Prosper and any entities that it has to create for formal or regulatory reasons, like it does for the community development entities in the new market tax credit context. So we are recommending that in your capacity as directors of the nonprofit corporation that you appoint Mr. Wesley to the office of president, and I'm happy to answer any questions.
Anyone have any questions, comments? Nope.
I have a technical, I think this is my first time convening as this board. So I'm automatically on this board as well, I'm realizing.
Yes.
Great. I'm happy to move Cornell Wesley as the executive director of this organization.
Second.
Okay. All right. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All right. Passes unanimously. Congratulations, Executive Director Wesley. All right. There being no further items on the Portland Community Investment Fund agenda, the PCIF governing board meeting is now adjourned. So that wraps things up for us today. Thanks to everybody for coming. I apologize again for not being there in person, but I don't think you would want me there. So I hope everybody has a great day, and I look forward to seeing everybody next month in person.
Thank you, Chair Cruz.
Feel better.
Thank you. Okay, take care.